ABC analyst Casey Briggs joins us. Casey, first off, this year really continuing and encouraging news from Australia this morning, with New South Wales and Queensland both reporting very low numbers.
That's right, Joe. Particularly good numbers out of New South Wales today. We've seen Queensland with numbers in the sort of 2-3 a day last week. There's the total, 6,718. But the really impressive looking number is 2 in New South Wales. We haven't seen that in more than 6 weeks. So 5 so far today. We haven't yet heard from Victoria, one of the 3 biggest states. So we'll get a clearer idea of where this number might end up when we do hear from Victoria, which has been a bit up and down. But as long as these numbers stay as low as that, it's cause for optimism and a good reason for us to have a look at a couple of other key figures. One, the hospitalisation rate. We are clearly well and truly past the peak of hospitalisations in Australia. Just 115 people now in hospital. That's been dropping by about 10 or 15 a day for the last few days, so really good signs there. And the active cases, I think it's about 16% of all of Australia's cases are now active. The rest have either recovered or sadly died, most of whom have recovered. 1,100 patients still carry active infection in Australia, and we can see that still trending downwards, as you'd expect, as the cases trend downwards as well.
And Casey, the US has been the worst hit country with this, with more than 54,000 people dead. Over the last week or so, we've heard a number of people there saying, oh, glimmer of hope, things seem to be turning around. But then on Friday, they had their biggest day in terms of number of new cases.
Yeah, Joe, let's unpack that. There's a few things to talk about there. One, let's just have a look at the case curve for the United States first. So what we're talking about here is this Saturday, 36,000 new cases, more than any day the US has recorded. One of the reasons for that, though, is the US has dramatically increased the number of tests it does in the last week. So that's actually a good thing. We want this number to go up. As this number goes up, it actually means that the number of positive test results as a proportion of all tests is going down. The US, because it was so slow in the early stages, there were some states that were seeing, 50% of all tests were coming back positive. That's now dropping as the test rate increases. So this is actually not too much cause for alarm, frankly. And we are, the other thing to note is that came on one of the biggest days of the week for new cases generally. You can see there's a trend here in the US, a weekly trend where sort of midweek cases peak toward the end of the week, and then over the weekend there's less done, so you get smaller numbers. So not actually too concerning, but let's have a look at the death rate as well, which we have again seen a bit of improvement on. Only 1,100 deaths overnight. Today's numbers are yet to sort of be closed off, so that number might increase a little bit more. But we have seen just in the last couple of days some good signs. But the big caution on that, always with the US and several other countries, is testing and reporting over the weekend is lower. And so we need to wait to see until later in the week to see if that's a trend or if it's just a one-off blip.
And Spain has been ravaged by coronavirus as well, more than 20,000 deaths there, and people locked down, like seriously locked down in their homes for more than a month. But some, and terrible that there's been more deaths there, but some encouraging news in terms of the number of deaths per day falling pretty dramatically there.
It's important to note when we talk about lockdowns being eased around other countries, many of these countries, the most severely hit countries, have had much tougher restrictions than Australia. So in many cases, their easing of lockdowns is actually still stricter than what we've got here. But let's have a look at deaths around the world. What we've done here is we've shifted all of the outbreaks so they begin at the same point, so that you can sort of compare the path of them a bit more easily. This is the US, still averaging 2,500 deaths a day. That's why I say we need to wait to see if that's a blip or not. But this one here is Italy, which has really levelled out and really slowly decreasing, and Spain, which has been on this similar trend, maybe seeing a little bit faster improvement than Spain. But you can see this shows you, it's very quick. This virus is very quick to infect people. It's very slow to get rid of this. But the trend in Spain has been positive. The trend has been positive for a while, and what we've seen, if I just finally bring up Spain's curve, is just in the last day, this really big drop in one day. Again, we'll caution, it might just be a weekend sort of reporting effect. We'll wait to see if that continues, but really positive numbers after a bit of a levelling out in the deaths. Good to see a drop.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Casey Briggs.